What's up, my beautiful people? Wait a minute, let's do that again. What is up, my beautiful people? It's been a minute. Is that what they say? Well, today's podcast is really about me blabbing, but maybe not entirely. I'll be sharing a list of top African safari destinations and national parks for 2021. That's the top 50 African safari destinations and national parks. But before I do that, let's get through the pleasantries. Well, there have been and still are some busy days. I've been grinding hard like everyone else, chasing that paper like a problem, trying to make ends meet. I don't know why ends must always meet and can't just have a Zoom call or something like we all do. But here we are, just a few days to the end of the year and just grateful for life, really. How have you guys been? I reckon somewhat amazing or not entirely. It's Wednesday morning here in Kampala, Uganda, as I record this, so perhaps you guys get to listen to it on maybe Wednesday evening or Thursday. But I'd like to say a very big thank you for joining me. I know it's been a while since I last put out any content, be it on the podcast or on the channel. December rains are beginning to prevail. You know what they say about rain? Rain makes things grow. So get out of bed, clean up that beautiful face, and let's go hard for the final lap of 2021. Anyways, welcome back to the Benaiah podcast, where we talk earth images, words, wildlife films and photography, and occasionally music. Woo! What a year this has been. The crazy corona is still trying to eat up our happiness, reinventing herself with all these strange names and variants. Delta this, Omicron that. Well, it actually got real this year, I believe, with the reinforcement of lockdowns and travel restrictions. We saw some unnecessary travel bans, really. I know for certain when the Delta variant arrived in Uganda, things got pretty nasty down here. At least every family had a relative critically ill. Some of us lost people. I lost one of my sweet and really loving aunties, but God bless her beautiful soul. So yeah, there's been loss, and may the souls, all those that departed, rest in peace, everlasting and eternal. Yeah, but life goes on, as the contemporary statement goes, and for those who caught the virus but managed to beat this messed up disease, congratulations, man. All praise to the Most High, all praise to the Most High. Whatever the case, this crazy corona will definitely have to go. It's not gonna stay here for forever. Yeah, man, the thing should just leave us alone. Anyways, enough of that corona jazz. And before we get into the gist of today's podcast, I'd like to know what you guys have been up to. Let me know in the comments below. Let's share some contagious positive vibes. Let me know what you guys have been to. My Ugandan people, I heard you guys are eating insenene. Are you eating insenene? Well, in case you're wondering what insenene is, it's one popular fast food delicacy in Uganda. Okay, maybe that's a little too fancy and perhaps not the way to describe them really. But insenene is in plain terms a Luganda term which translates in English to mean grasshoppers. So yes, I mean those odd looking insects with long legs. And in Uganda they are fried and cooked, to be exact, so we eat them. Yeah. I know what you're thinking. These folks are crazy. But don't judge. Folks from around the world eat worse stuff, at least from what I've read. Well, we do some crazy stuff down here in Uganda, but perhaps we took the Old Testament scripture a little too serious when the good Lord instructed that we could eat some flying insects that walk on all fours, including locusts, crickets, and grasshoppers. It's right about the time we added locusts and crickets onto that divine menu. That sounds a little inappropriate. Anyways, this is meant to be a short one. Apologies about the rattling going on in the background. In case we have some of those disruptions, please do bear with me. So around this time of the year, I'd usually make an assessment of what have been the key highlights of the year in the tourism space, but I've not had the time to sit down and review the year fully this time round. What I've been able to do, however, is go through some travel lists, and for someone that loves safari, it's quite impressive how many African destinations have made it to top travel lists of places to visit in 2022. Beautiful to see the travel and tourism industry around the world steadily begin to pace towards recovery again. Some new hotels here and there, some that have even already won some awards despite being new. So it's been a promising year for travel, just as we had anticipated that this would be a year of rejuvenation, revitalization, recovery, restoration, recouping energies, and just running back to the starting line and having a go again. I combed the internet, and actually particularly for Uganda, I was glad that the unspoiled wilderness of Kidepo Valley National Park, as well as Bwini Impenetrable National Park, which is famous for its silverback mountain gorillas, and the tree climbing lions of Queen Elizabeth National Park, made it to a couple of 2021 Africa Safari destination lists. So I'd like to shout out to all the men and women diligently protecting these wildlands, especially the wildlife rangers, but also those enabling people reach these destinations to bring in the much needed tourist revenue. The fuel that keeps the safari and conservation engine going is visitors being in those destinations. So a big shout out to tour operators, safari guides, travel agents, lodge operators, and everyone involved in this beautiful space. And now onto the list. So Safari Bookings, which is perhaps the most famous platform for promoting safaris, recently released its list of top 50 best African safari parks and destinations of 2021. And this is pretty much a foresight for places that people can plan to visit in the coming year. Now the analysis was based on over 2,300 park reviews, which were carried out to determine the finest safari parks on the continent. Of course, the list can be subjective as it's focused more on parks that are recognized for the classic wildlife viewing safari style. So things like people going out to actually basically what you'd understand when you hear safari. It's more of the game drives, those canoe trips to really see the big five African animals, and also many of those other animals that graze the savannah like the antelopes, zebras, and more. So that's basically what safari means in its true sense. So parks mostly known for scenery or gorilla tracking like Uganda's famous Bwini Impenetrable National Park were not included in this analysis for that particular reason. So in determining the top 50 list of Africa's best 157 parks in 11 countries were investigated or were under consideration, and these countries offer the best safari experiences for visitors in Africa for that reason. The study also included over 1,300 reviews, which were contributed by actual safari tourists who had visited Africa and were originating from 83 different countries from all around the world. And the remaining 1,000 reviews, over 1,000 reviews, were written by distinguished industry experts. These are mainly experts that are mostly authors working for well-known guidebooks like Lonely Planet, Rough Guides, Frommer's Travel, Brad Guides, and I think I read Footprint as well. So parks with less than 10 reviews were excluded from the top 50, and the overall review score of a park was out of 5, consisting of 50% of expert reviews and 50% of user-generated reviews. So that is actual tourists that had visited the national parks this particular year. This is finally representative, and I must congratulate all the destinations that made it onto this list, because that then determines where tourists visit in the consequent or the following year. Okay, now enough with the mumbo jumbo, so let's get into the main course. As famous Italian sports journalist Fabrizio Romano likes to say, here we go. Or do we do we need a drum roll? Alright, so which safari parks in Africa are the best? We'll count down from 50 all the way to 1. So number 50, with a score of 3.5 out of 5, is Karoo National Park in South Africa. Mainly popular for its classic safari, where you get to see many antelope species. You're able to see the black rhino. Lions are also seen, although sighted rarely. Number 49, with a score of 3.5 out of 5, is Mikumi National Park in Tanzania, and this was voted mainly for its walking safari experience. It also presents 4 of the big 5 animals. That includes the buffalo, elephant, leopards, and lions, although the predators are rarely seen. Then number 48 is Meru National Park in Kenya with a score of 3.65 out of 5, and this is famous for its classic safari. 4 of the big 5 are present, including the rhinos, although in a fenced sanctuary. At number 47, we have Arusha National Park in Tanzania. Now, Arusha National Park landed a score of 3.68 out of 5, and it was voted because of its classic safari. Okay, that's the classic safari experience that most tourists come for when they come to Africa, but also for its hiking expeditions and the chance to see several antelope species, and particularly primates like the black and white colobus. Then 46, number 46, with a score of 3.71 out of 5, is Mount Zebra National Park. This is also in South Africa, and it's known for its classic safari experience, like all the other parks we've had on the list so far. But as is indicated in its name, it's the Cape Mountain zebra that most people come here to see. But the park also has cheetah, it has lions, it has black rhino, and several antelope species. Alright, on to number 45. Now this is a hard name. It's Ogobris Falls National Park. It's also in South Africa. It came in with a score of 3.75 out of 5. Most popular for its scenery. The animals are said to be scarce, although there are some antelope species, giraffes, and leopards can be sighted. Then in position 44, we have Kenya's Hell's Gate National Park, which scored 3.77 out of 5. Now that's quite a name to give a park, really. Hell's Gate National Park. This park was ranked mainly for its cycling and walking safaris, as well as the usual classic safari in a car. Tourists get to mainly see antelope species. Lions are also present, but maybe very rarely. Then number 43, we have finally one of my favorite African safari destinations, Botswana. I don't know why, but I just love Botswana, although I have not been there yet, but it's one of those countries on my bucket list. But since we're talking national parks, so we'll specifically look at the national park that is at position number 43 with a score of 3.79 out of 5. That's in Saipan National Park. I don't know if I pronounced that or I butchered it. It's NXAI, then Pan as in frying pan, or Saipan National Park in Botswana. It was voted mainly for its classic safari experience, with all the big 5 present. Rhinos are said to be rare, and the wildlife is somewhat scarce outside the wet season. In position number 42, we have another national park from Tanzania. Wow. And this is Lake Manyara National Park. It came in with a score of 3.83 out of 5. And it was popular for its classic safari experience, with 4 of the big 5, apart from the rhino. The big cats in particular are, however, difficult to spot. Now in number 41, we have Nairobi National Park. As the name goes, this is in the East African country of Kenya. Very popular for being a city national park. Also with a score of 3.83 out of 5. This small national park was voted mainly for its classic safari experience, with all the big 5 present. But its nearness to the city might just be what sets it apart from the rest. Obviously, for true bushmen like myself, this park lacks the true wilderness vibe, but it's still amazing and deserves to be on the list, and might be one of easier parks for someone who is visiting Nairobi and doesn't have all the time to drive out to the other distant parks. Then number 40, we have also in Kenya with a score of 3.87 out of 5, Aberdare National Park. This park is very popular for its classic safari experience, like many of the parks we've already seen. All the big 5 are present, although the lions may be a bit hard to find. Coming in position number 39 is one of my favorite national parks, and indeed one that is on my list of top 10 African safari parks. And this is the beautiful Kafue National Park in Zambia. It came in with a score of 3.95 out of 5. Kafue was voted for its walking safari experience, as well as its boat and classic safari escapades that tourists can get to enjoy. Cheetahs are present, as well as 4 of the African Big 5, apart from the rhino. No giraffes are found here either. Number 38, that's moving on with a score of 3.94 out of 5, is something Elephant National Park. Sorry, I got the name wrong. And this is in South Africa. All the big 5 are present here, but only elephants are regularly seen, and I guess that's the idea behind the name. It was ranked well for the classic safari experience as well. Number 37 is Plainsburg Game Reserve, also located in South Africa. That's in the Northwest Province, west of Pretoria. This came in with a score of 3.98 out of 5. It's been ranked mainly for its classic safari with all the African Big 5 existent. That is the rhino, buffalo, lion, leopard, and the elephant. And then number 36, finally, one from Uganda. My Ugandan people, I know for a moment you were worried. Well, number 36 with a score of 4 out of 5 is Queen Elizabeth National Park, previously known as Kazinga National Park. Tourists and experts gave it this big rating because of its boat cruise and classic safari experience. Wildlife is in great variety with a very big list of bird species. 4 of the African Big 5 animals are very present, including the rare tree climbing lions. What is missing is the rhino. Perhaps the reintroduction of giraffes would raise the park's status even more, but this park was this year also listed on Travel and Leisure's list. I think it was dubbed the 10 incredible national parks in Africa, and it's comprised of desert parks, rainforest parks, and mountain parks. Travel and Leisure is a travel magazine that many people follow. It's based in New York City, so that was quite cool that Queen Elizabeth was listed on there, but is also listed on Safari Bookings list again in the same year. That's pretty much an endorsement and a confirmation. Position number 35, we have Katavi National Park. Well, this is a relatively untouched wilderness paradise situated in the western area of Tanzania. So that's another national park for Tanzania. Katavi also came in with a score of 4 out of 5, like Queen Elizabeth National Park, and it ranked highly because of its classic safari experience. This particular park has all the African Big 5. Then number 34, which is another national park from Kenya, is the famous Lake Nakuru National Park. Whenever I read this name, I see the lake with flamingos. I don't know why that's a picture I have in the back of my mind. But this particular park had a score of 4.02 out of 5, and it was voted for its classic safari experience, its population of black and white rhino, and as well as the fact that it is a very family-friendly national park. So perfect place to go with family and don't leave the kids behind. The number 33, position number 33, we have with a score of 4.11 out of 5, is another Kenyan national park. That's Savo West National Park. It is famous for its classic safari experience, like all the parks previously. It's adjacent to the big and famous Savo East, with all the big 5 animals present, although the wildlife density is a bit lower. The number 32, we have another one from Botswana, and that's the Magadi Pans National Park. And this comes in with a score of 4.13 out of 5. This park was best reviewed for its classic safari experience, including all the African Big 5, although the rhinos may be a bit rare to see, but they are definitely present. Wildlife, like in the Saipan National Park, which we had seen earlier, might be scarce to spot outside the wet season. Number 31 is another one from Uganda. That's the Incredible Maction Falls National Park, raking in an attractive 4.23 out of 5. Maction Falls, previously Kabalega National Park, was best ranked for its boat cruise experience on the world's longest river, the Nile River. And like many other destinations, this park didn't fall short in the classic safari category, with an abundance of wildlife, including 4 of the African Big Five safari animals, apart from the rhino. Adding to the cocktail of wildlife experiences is the mighty waterfall, after which this national park is named. Clearly the well-known centerpiece that's believed to be the most powerful waterfall in the world, a spectacle to say the least. Then number 30, we have Tarangire. Is it Tarangire? Tarangire National Park in Tanzania. This came in with a score of 4.24 out of 5. The park is not new to lists similar to this, lists of top African safari parks. It was mainly voted for its classic safari experience, with an abundance of wildlife, including 4 of the Big Five, apart from the rhino. Wildlife is mainly abundant in the dry season, but there are chances of also spotting wildlife in the other seasons of the year. The number 29, we have Timbavati Nature Reserve in South Africa. And this ranked in a score of 4.25 out of 5. That was mainly for its classic safari experience, with all the African Big Five animals present. Wow. South Africa, Tanzania, and Kenya are shaking this list up, man. Anyways, moving on. Also in South Africa, and with a score of 4.25 out of 5, we have another protected area, that's Shamwari Game Reserve, that came in position 28. And like the previous one, this Shamwari Game Reserve was voted mainly for its classic safari experience, with all the African Big Five animals present. Okay, number 27. Wow, 3 in a row. Still in South Africa, Hululu Mfolozi Game Reserve came in with a score of 4.31 out of 5. Now this particular one was voted obviously for its classic safari, with each of the Big Five present, but most famous for its rhino population. Coming in position 26 is Kenya's Tsavo East National Park. That's adjacent to Tsavo West, which came in earlier in position 33. Of course, this park had to be on the list. 4.38 out of 5 was the score, and it was voted mainly for its classic safari experience, though the African Big Five safari animals present, although animal density may be less in some parts of the year. Number 25 is Ol Pejeta Conservancy. This is a private reserve in Kenya that reported a score of 4.39 out of 5, ranked mainly for its classic safari experience and the presence of all the African Big Five animals. I guess its chimpanzee sanctuary only reinforces its position on this list. I think I read that they do have rhinos as well. Yeah, so all the African Big Five are found here. Now, when we reach here, things begin to get even more exciting. But moving on quickly, number 24, we have Samburu National Park, another one from Kenya, with a score of 4.40 out of 5. Tourists and experts mainly reviewed it for its classic safari with 4 of the African Big Five, apart from the rhino. And the park also adjoins Buffalo Springs to offer an even extra wildlife experience. The number 23, we have Central Kalahari Game Reserve. That's another one in Botswana, and this received a score of 4.40 out of 5, like the previous one, like Samburu. And this was mainly famous for its classic safari experience, though the big cats present. Being a desert park, the wildlife is however scarce, except after the summer rains, where then the animals come and converge around the water holes, and it's easier to see them around the drinking points in the park. The number 22, and now another one on my list of top 10 African safari destinations, is the gorgeous Etosha National Park in Namibia. Oh, and by the way, in case you're wondering what my top 10 list looks like, I'll be leaving a link in the description to that YouTube video with a list I populated. I think it was in 2019. That list fortunately remains unchanged. But anyways, Etosha was voted for its classic safari experience with abundant wildlife, including 4 of the African Big Five, only excluding the buffalo. Being a desert park as well, the best time to spot wildlife is during the dry season, when all the animals converge around the watering holes. Such a delight to see a kaleidoscope of colors. You can see zebras, you can see rhinos, elephants, birds, lions, and more. Etosha received a score of 4.43 out of 5. If you go to the next, that's number 21 on the list, the mother of elephants. And this is the mighty Amboseli National Park, another one from Kenya. Amboseli got a score of 4.45 out of 5 because of its classic safari with all the African Big Five present. Although elephants are what most people come here to see, there's a whole lot more as well. And not to forget its stunning views of Mount Kilimanjaro. Amboseli is ranked one of the finest places to view and also photograph wild African elephants. If you are to follow up many of the natural history films written around elephants, most of them will point to the Amboseli ecosystem or at least somewhere near. I'll actually recommend that you look out for, there's a 2018 movie by Mark Dibble dubbed it's not the African Queen. African Queen is a different movie. It's dubbed The Elephant Queen. It's a documentary which went ahead to be nominated for Best Science/Nature Documentary, as well as Best Narration in 2019. This particular one was filmed in Savo East National Park, although it had been inspired by events in the 2009 drought in Amboseli National Park. And I think that movie has a ranking of about 91% on famous review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes. So I highly recommend you watch it. Okay, number 20, moving on, is Finda Private Game Reserve. Finda is located in South Africa, and it got a score of 4.45 out of 5. Now, it got that score principally for its classic safari and the abundance of wildlife. That includes lions, elephants, buffaloes, rhinos, and leopards. So that's all the African Big Five are present. Number 19 is Madikwe Game Reserve. That's also in South Africa. Like both Amboseli and Pinda, Madikwe got a score of 4.45 out of 5. And I believe this is largely attributed to its classic safari experience, being that it has all the African Big Five in it. Then number 18, we have some Kruger fans on here. So number 18 is the mighty Kruger National Park, which you've perhaps all heard about before. If not, then you should look it up. This has to be one of the most famous parks in not only South Africa, but also Africa, and maybe the world at large. Classic safari and the rare abundance of all major safari animals, including the Big Five, are some of the reasons why this National Park received a score of 4.47 out of 5, and the fact that it came in 18th on this list. Okay, then number 17 we have Mahale Mountains National Park, which is located in Tanzania, and it scored 4.48 out of 5. Now honestly, I didn't know this one that well, apart from its chimpanzee trekking experience, but I've read that several other major safari animals are also present, because previously I thought it was only chimpanzees. Perhaps this sense of mystery calls for me to visit, and maybe yourself as well if you've not been there yet. Number 16 is also a Tanzanian national park, and it's also on my list of top 10 safari destinations on the continent, and that is Silas. It scored 4.51 out of 5. This park is rated highly for its walking, boat, and classic safari experience, with all the African Big Five present. The park also boasts a healthy population of wild dogs, one of the world's most endangered mammals. So that's a great place to go and spot the wild dogs. I think they're also called they're more commonly called the African painted dog currently. Number 15 is Ruaha National Park. Ruaha National Park is also found in Tanzania, and it is most popular for both its walking and classic safari experience. 4 of the African Big Five animals, apart from the rhino, call this place home, and you can also spot the cheetah, wild dogs during a safari here. Ruaha received a score of 4.52 out of 5. Okay, then on to the next is Chobe National Park in Botswana, a bucket list destination for sure. With a staggering score of 4.53 out of 5, Chobe National Park is most popular for its boat experience, its classic safari with all African Big Five animals, especially its large herds of elephants. Rhinos are sighted, although they are the rarest seen among the Big Five. Okay, number 13 is Kagalagadi Transfrontier Park in South Africa. And this ranked in a score of 4.57 out of 5. Honestly, I thought I knew safari parks in Africa, but this particular one is new to me. Safari Bookings reveals that this particular one was voted because of its classic safari experience, like all the other parks, by the fact that it has all big cats present. Its name is birthed from the fact that it is a trans-frontier national park connecting with Botswana. Number 12. Finally, our first park from Zimbabwe, and that's Hwangwe National Park, also with a score of 4.57 out of 5. It was voted mainly for its classic safari experience and its abundance of all major safari animals, including the big 5 great animals of our continent. This one should be on any safari lover's bucket list. And then on to number 11. Oh, we're getting closer to the top. Okay, now this is Kidepo Valley National Park with a score of 4.58 out of 5. And it is the third park from Uganda on this list. Now this happens to be my favorite park in Uganda and also my second favorite national park on the African continent, for reasons known to many that have followed me over the years. Again, I recommend you watch the video in the description below. The link is there with all my top 10 African safari parks. But Kidepo's remoteness and the low numbers of visitors guarantees that you have the exclusivity of the wild. When you spot the wildlife, it's just you and the wild. It's not, you don't have all the traffic jam that you see in some of these other safari destinations in Africa, and that's why many people really love it. When you spot the wildlife, it's just you and the wild, making it no stranger to destination lists like this one. It's become a constant on Safari Bookings list over the years, but it's also been highly rated by industry leaders, including guys like Lonely Planet, Rough Guides. CNN had it on its list a couple of, I think about 2 years ago. National Geographic has had it on its list, and many others over the years. So this year Kidepo was voted on this list of top 50 for its classic safari experience that brings you closer to animals like giraffes, a chance to see cheetahs, several antelope species, zebras, and 4 of the African Big Five, including some of the largest herds of buffalo in the world, all existing in a very stunning landscape. The only missing member of the Big Five is the rhino. And now, on to the heavyweights of this year. Do we need another drum roll? Maybe not. Okay, now number 10 is perhaps one that you've been waiting for, and one that needs no introduction, and that's the award-winning Masai Mara National Park. With a score of 4.59 out of 5, Masai Mara becomes the 11th Kenyan national park on this year's list of top 50 safari destinations. The park was obviously voted for its classic safari with all the big 5 present. Its position is re-emphasized by the many big cats present, but perhaps even more for its wildebeest migration that happens every year. That's an outstanding spectacle that is considered one of the greatest wonders of the natural world. And then on to number 9, back to South Africa. That's Sabi Sands Game Reserve with a score of 4.62 out of 5. It is no surprise that this right here is one of the locations from which the popular Wild Earth, a live daily virtual safari, is streamed in partnership with Nat Geo Wild. This area consists of multiple privately owned game reserves, which are managed very well, and the wildlife thrives. Excellent Big 5 wildlife viewing ensures that tourists flock this destination annually, and perhaps still on the bucket list for many travelers as we enter 2022. And on to number 8. Clearly South Africa and Tanzania have dominated this list. But anyways, our next on the list also needs no introduction, and that's the Ngorongoro crater in Tanzania. Ngorongoro was a high performer with a score of 4.64 out of 5. A classic safari with abundant wildlife, including all the African Big 5, all existing in a picturesque setting in a volcanic crater. That sounds like a movie. But this national park is a bucket list item for many people, and it's one you should include in your plans. The number 7, the number of perfection. And this is one of my personal favorites as well. This is Zambia's South Luangwa National Park. South Luangwa received a score of 4.67 out of 5. because of its rewarding walking safaris, but also the contemporary classic African safari experience that is enjoyed in a safari jeep in many other African destinations. Visitors here get to see wildlife in abundance, including 4 of the African Big Five, only excluding the rhino. Giraffes are also said to be easily sighted in this national park. Okay, now moving on to number 6, it's Botswana's Moremi Game Reserve with a score of 4.68 out of 5. It's partly located in one of my personal favorites, the Okavango Delta. This park is known for its classic safari with every member of the African Big Five. That is the lion, leopard, elephant, buffalo. Although the rhinos need a bit more searching, but they too are present. This is a must visit for all safari lovers, and in a country that is ranked highly for all luxury safari planners, this is a place to be. The number 5 we have also with a score of 4.68 out of 5 in Zambia as well. That's the Lower Zambezi National Park, a delight for tourists. And this is deservedly on many similar lists, including my own list of top 10 African safari parks. This Zambian protected area is famous for its canoe excursions that bring tourists and wildlife photographers closer to nature. For long, four of the African Big Five can be seen here, apart from I think it's rhino that is not existent. If you are, however, a giraffe lover, then maybe this particular park is one that is not for you, as giraffes are not present there. The number 4, we're getting closer to the top. Number 4, the Okavango Delta, by no surprise, ranks number 4 on this year's list of top 50 safari destinations on the beautiful continent of Africa. Located in Botswana, this waterway paradise ranked in a wowing 4.67 out of 5. Its canoe expeditions, boat cruises, and classic safari experience positioned it high above its competition, a must visit for both true bushmen but also those that desire to set out and begin their journey of exploration throughout this beautiful continent. So the Okavango Delta is way up there on this, and it's well deserving to be on this list as well. Number 3, remember that destination with the leopard that, I don't know if you watched that clip during the lockdown in 2020 where leopard came to a wilderness camp. I'm calling it deserted, but it wasn't deserted because there were just a few guests there due to the pandemic. It's one of those videos that really went viral. I don't know if you guys watched it, but well, it happens to be to happen in many places. But I guess such experiences of animals coming really close to safari camps more virally happen in South Africa's Malamala Game Reserve, and that happens to be our number 3. So Malamala Game Reserve has an abundance of wildlife, including all members of the African Big Five. This reserve has heavenly accommodation, and their guides provide fast-rate guiding experiences. It's also one of 14 South African parks on this year's top 50 list. So let's just say they take this year's bronze medal. If you don't know, or if you don't follow them on Instagram, I suggest you pause this particular podcast, go follow them, and then return. Oh, and while you're there, please don't forget to follow me as well. I'll wait as you do that. Okay, and now on to our top 2 on Safari Booking's top 50 safari parks in Africa 2021, and these both happen to be on my top list, top 10 list as well. So I guess I do have some good safari test as well, if that's even a thing. Anyways, without wasting any more time, let's see who the silver medal goes to. Number 2 is Manapul's National Park in Zimbabwe with a fantastic score of 4.85 out of 5. Wow. Just wow. This one almost broke my heart last year when the news broke about animals dying from a drought that had been punctuated by the absence of tourists. But well, with the revival of tourism this year, things are better, and Manapul's maintains its well-deserved seat as one of the most beautiful locations on our continent and the world at large, if we could say. Walking safaris bring guests closer to the wilderness. Sublime canoe trips present an unusual way to see Africa's great animals on even a much bigger screen. But you can still choose the classic African safari if that's what you prefer, and you will still not be disappointed. The expertise of the guides here ensures exciting wildlife encounters. Its variety and abundance of wildlife includes wild dogs, as well as 4 of the African Big Five, apart from the rhino. And this is perhaps why Manaples National Park is voted time and again on lists like this one. Definitely a top African safari park and one to include on a bucket list. Breathe in. And now to the winner. You probably already know. But before I announce our winner, be sure to subscribe if you are watching this on YouTube. Like, comment, share. The podcast is available on all major platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and others. So please do leave a like, leave a comment, share, but don't forget to subscribe as well. Finally, is this where the DJ plays that heartbeat sound effect? Alright, so number 1 and the best safari park of the year with a record score of 4.92 out of 5. Wow, that's 4.92 out of 5. And this particular park is famous for hosting all the African Big Five animals. So that's ticking all the boxes. So all the African Big Five animals are found here. There are many big cats, so it's quite easy to see lions if that's an animal you really love. The great wildlife migration is also experienced here, and this park is definitely a darling to many safari lovers. So ladies and gentlemen, our winner for this year is Serengeti National Park in Tanzania. Congratulations, Tanzania, yet again. Well, this stunning national park impresses with sheer numbers and variety of wildlife contained within its borders. The abundance of predators and the spectacular wild-beast migration are 2 more big draw cards that bring people to Serengeti year after year. I think Serengeti was also TripAdvisor's number 1 this year, so it's not by coincidence that it's on this list. Then it was also, I think it won the award for the World Travel Awards Top National Park of the Year, and that's for the 3rd time in a row. And again, so it's not by coincidence that it also tops this list. And also still, it is my number 1 on my list of top 10 safari destinations in Africa, and is indeed deserving of this accolade. So again, congratulations Tanzania, congratulations TANAPA, that's the Tanzania National Park Authority, I believe. And congratulations Serengeti National Park in particular. This particular park, with its plains that accommodate millions of wildlife, is popular, and it will continue to top bucket lists, and it will be a great place to kick off your 2022 travels in case you hadn't decided yet. Alright, so that's a wrap. That is it for today, but don't forget to like, comment, share. The podcast is available on all major platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcast, and Apple Podcast. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Safe travels.